Okay, so welcome. My name is Nathaniel Luskett. I'm going to be your instructor for this boot camp. I'm really excited to be together and to be able to work with you to make this boot camp an educational experience for all of you and a chance to really get some hands-on exposure to building simulation models within the AnyLogic platform. Within the course of the week, much of the value delivered is going to come from a combination of material that I present, but also questions from you and requests from you. So I'd like to start by encouraging all of you to speak up a great deal during the boot camp as to your interests and to bring forward questions that you might have for myself and for the TAs here. Now, before we begin, I just want to go into a couple of the basics for the boot camp. So the goal of this boot camp is several-fold. It's to convey a sense of the capabilities, strengths, and limitations of system science methods in general. We will concentrate on agent-based modeling, but we will also be hitting on two other important types of dynamic modeling for system science, to wit, discrete event modeling and system dynamics modeling. And very importantly, we're going to be talking about how they can work together to lend insights that no one of them in isolation can offer. A second goal is to try to make sure that everyone here, regardless of whether you plan to yourself make a career in building models, will at least have considerable confidence in serving as a team member in a modeling project. So we will be doing a lot of model building in the course of this week, and much of that is to expose you to a very concrete understanding, a very detailed understanding about what it takes to build up a simulation model and how the assumptions are captured in that model. But much of the goal in the boot camp is to really make sure that people leaving from it feel comfortable working as supportive individuals for modeling projects. I recognize that not all of you will go out and build models, but many of you will work in a team with modeling going on, and it's important for you to understand how those models work to be able to function well in that capacity. Much of the goal for this group, based on the feedbacks from the questionnaires, is to provide hands-on familiarity with the capabilities and functions of AnyLogic, this software. And we will be really emphasizing, again based on that feedback, a lot of hands-on model building. Okay, so that will be an ongoing use of our time. We will also take a significant amount of time to go through pre-existing models, just to clue you in into how you can undertake certain tasks. Some of those models will accompany case studies. Others of them will be in isolation, but give an illustration of the features of AnyLogic. Now, because we're going to dive into AnyLogic in about 10 minutes to run some models, if anyone here does not at this moment have AnyLogic installed in your computer, either the free personal learning edition or some other version, please raise your hands. The TA can help you right now get it downloaded onto your machines, okay? Because we will be using in about 10 minutes time to run a bunch of models. And much of the morning will be spent browsing models, and it's important that you be able to run it on your computer. Yes, Dylan?
Do they require participant resources for this? Because if so, then we can start making sure that's distributed.
Well, they will in about 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should be accessible.
But I'm going to be announcing those resources in just a minute, so yeah. And then there'll be a little bit on sort of the theory and practice of modeling. So each day we're going to have some lectures. We're going to have a bit of work going on for particular modeling, and I'd really like to put an emphasis on sort of getting questions that you raise answered. As far as I'm concerned, the highest priority here is to address the questions that you may come with or that you may develop in the course of the boot camp. So please be encouraged to come forward with any questions, either on a one-on-one basis or with a bigger group. I do expect that while I posted a schedule I'll be pointing you to in just a moment, that the schedule will evolve, potentially drastically, due to student interest and observation of progress. We're going to have particularly sort of a milestone halfway through where I take the pulse of the group and ask, how should we spend the remaining time? We have a bunch of material planned for that time, but what's more important is to adapt it to your needs. A lot of the goal here will be to try to take advantage of the classroom. Many of you are aware that I have many videos online. I think the latest count is somewhere above 1,700. And there's a lot of this material that you can get online in a kind of generic way. But what you can't get online is that adapted to your specific interests. So if you're a health economist, or you're someone who has a strong interest in neighborhood design and its impact on physical activity, or if you're really interested in the impacts of early childhood exposures on life course trajectories, and you're interested in understanding how modeling can be aimed at that, I'm glad to sort of engage with you to try to address those questions, okay? And I have dozens and dozens of models we could build together, and my choice of those models will be shaped a lot by your express interests. Okay, so all of these sessions I'm going to make every effort to record. And the place that they're going to be recorded is pointed to here. Right now it's an empty YouTube playlist on my playlist channel, but I will be populating it at the end of the day and potentially throughout the day during these boot camps, okay? So we're going to be putting up snippets of video through most days. I'm going to try to post them for the morning, as we get into the afternoon, etc. So these videos will be populated over time. And I would like to try to make sure that the question back and forth is addressed. So I'm not sure that this mic is going to adequately pick up from people in the room. If you have questions you want to bring forward, I will try to repeat them or paraphrase them. If you find myself not doing that, please remind me so that I can get into the habit better, so that we can include them online in the video, so that people listening to the videos will have a sense of what the questions were. Okay, some resources. I noted the videos here. There's also a set of course materials which are available at a comparable URL, but with materials at the end instead of videos at the end. Okay. These materials, in contrast to the videos, have lots of things there. It has a couple of things, slides, including these. It has a wide variety of additional items too, and those include a preliminary schedule, on which I welcome feedback. It includes a few lecture slides. It includes dozens of example models, virtually all drawn from the health area. And then it includes a set of additional materials, including some links and some background references. These include references to literature, as well as some video references, etc. I also include a one-page reference card that's kind of a quick reference on a lot of common tasks on AnyLogic, and some broader descriptions. These have been created by me and my group for health modeling specifically, and they're kind of, the most needed features. So you might want to look at that. And then I provide a set of step-by-step tutorials. So if anyone is interested in further strength building beyond what's covered here, there's a step-by-step guide on how to build on the order of 8 different models there, which illustrate features of AnyLogic. Okay. So there's going to be 3 TAs here in the room. If you could raise your hands, that would be great. Kurt, Dylan here, Kurt, and Alan. And they're going to be serving in many capacities. So their most immediate use is going to be one where, well, many of you have already seen them helping you get online and so on, and they're going to be helping more in that in just a minute. Secondly, they will handle ad hoc questions involving the modeling, okay? So please raise your hand if you need help at any point, and they'll come a-running. I have to be a little bit limited. Things tend to get a bit out of whack if I start circulating to try to fix problems myself, so I try to be restrained, but with 3 TAs, we should be in good shape. They can also discuss with you some of these models that you'll be building, about how they work and motivations for them. They can also serve very fruitfully to help brainstorm about applications of modeling on your projects. All 3 of them have considerable maturity in AnyLogic, as well as in the use of system science techniques. And they should be able to orient you and give some guidance as to modeling ideas, projects, thoughts you might have as to how you pursue projects on your own. They may also, on occasion, provide guest lectures. Okay, so a couple requests for the boot camp. One thing is, please do raise your hand for help. Secondly, ask questions. Third, and this is something I'll be introducing in just within 5 minutes. There's a feature in AnyLogic which will help you a great deal, and it's called autocomplete, and I'll teach you how to use it. It turns out that using that feature, while it may seem modest in its implication, it will spare you a huge amount of worry if you can use this feature repeatedly. It's as simple as pressing control space on a PC, and what is it, command space on a Mac?
I think it's option space.
Option space? Okay, option space. Thank you.
If it doesn't work on your Mac, that might be because you already
Yeah.
mapped those keys to something else. Let us know.
Yeah, and particularly those who are switching back and forth between English and other languages, there's sometimes other key combinations that you'll want. But you'll want to become familiar with this soon. It's your friend, and it will also help the TA's efforts go much further. If you don't use it, it will approximately double the number of errors or triple the number of errors encountered by people here. And the TA's time will be much tighter than if you can use it repeatedly. And if you can depend on it strongly, that time from the TAs will go to much better use for real tougher questions where their skills are even more critical. Okay, I'm going to be posting all through each day successive versions of a model that we're building up. We're going to be doing a lot of model building. And people naturally sometimes have to step out to take a phone call. Sometimes they get a bit lost, they miss a step. Sometimes they're caught up in a conversation and can't tune in, and they've missed a whole series of steps. I'm going to be posting these models, hopefully about every half hour, or when we complete a logical chunk of work on them. You can just grab down my model for the latest rev. If you didn't follow along, you could just grab my model and start up from there. And that will be far better than getting behind along the way. You can just resync, in short, with my new model. I'll be doing the same thing with videos at the same time, so they'll match kind of the models. So please see if you can go to the website and grab these models, and I'll show you where. If you can, I want to get this in early and want to emphasize this often, please bring a mouse to these sessions. It turns out a mouse will help you get around AnyLogic more easily. It will also help you critically for when we use GIS functionality. Okay, and we're gonna take a look at a GIS model now, but where it will be really critical is when you build a model. Okay, so please, for Wednesday at least, see if you can bring a mouse. It'll spare you a lot of trouble. And finally, help your mate. Help your mate out with help. The person next to you, if they're having trouble, see if you can give them a pointer. Okay, it'll just help things go more smoothly. Often they've just missed one click or they're looking at the wrong thing, and you can clue them in. And a lot of the time, you'll help them get unstuck in a way that doesn't even require TA help. Yes, Dylan?
If I can just re-emphasize 2 points that Nate made. Bringing a mouse will save you an enormous amount of grief in this. If us that can develop this either professionally or just without having to think about it have difficulty without a mouse, you'll fall behind really, really, really quickly if you're using a touchpad. As for autocomplete, that is something we use on a regular basis because it just speeds up the process again and prevents spelling mistakes. So it would be a very large mistake to not use it regularly. So please understand the importance of those 2 points.
Yeah. And one of the things you'll find is that using autocomplete allows us to build models that are more transparent, because it allows us to use variable names that are more expressive, that are clearer. And autocomplete will make it almost painless to use those. If you're not using autocomplete, it will take you a long time to follow along with the variable names, and chances are you'll make spelling mistakes. Okay, so those were some sort of overview points from this, but from the start here for the orientation. So I want to